All right. I mean, what do you say? We're recording this anyway.
Yeah, let's get
This
going.
is the beginning. Let's get going. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm Kyle Yunkin. I'm our Director of Customer Success here at Gallus. And with me as always, partner in crime, Matt Caden, Senior Customer Success Manager. This is episode 8 of our Pro Tips webinar series.
Wow,
we're getting close to the end. I know.
Wow.
It flies. So here, let's get rolling here. So as a reminder, what's the Pro Tips webinar series all about? These are meant to be short 30 minutes or less webinars that you can watch pretty quickly. Our idea is to inspire you, maybe show a little bit more of a deep dive than what you would typically get on a review call with one of us on a specific section of the app. So we've gone through a number of sections of the app, anything from online registration all the way down to targeted offers last week and quite a few others, obviously. When we are done with this webinar, you'll actually notice you'll get redirected to a page on our website that has all of the webinars for you to rewatch. So if you see something that's interesting to you, you can take a look. And kind of on the same topic, the recordings are always shared the same day. We share them all over the place, anywhere from email to LinkedIn and any other place you can get a webinar video, possibly. So without further ado, let's talk about what is our goal for the app. We've been mentioning this every webinar in this Pro Tips webinar series. The goal is we want to get users to download your app so that you can have a bigger audience to send messages to. Now, all the episodes before this have really been lead up to this one, because we're talking today about push notifications. This is where you cash in on all the hard work that you've done. You get your app set up properly, you get people to download it. Now you need to make use of those downloads so that you can actually market out to them. So today's agenda. Today we're going to be talking about first some background. What are push notifications if you aren't familiar, and all that good stuff. Then we're going to go in depth on some of the more important parts, at least in our opinions, of push notifications. Filtering audience. How do you do that so that only certain people receive the messages? How do you use the action section effectively? It's very important to do that. And then we're going to go, as always, over some unique ideas. You will notice on the left-hand side of your screen, there is a Q&A section. If you have a question, type it in there. We will go over any questions that we get at the end. And Matt's also throwing in there a couple of links for you guys. There's a link to our knowledge base article that's all about push notifications. There's also a link to book a meeting with Matt. And what am I missing? Oh, the slides.
The slides. Yeah, the slides
for the webinar, if you want to check these out on your own as well. All right, let's do it. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is some background. What are push notifications? What's that all about? Push notifications, put simply, are outbound messages of 120 characters or less that send to the users of a specific app. So you're writing a message and you're reaching out to the user to hopefully get them to come into your app and interact with it. One requirement is we need to ask the user if they want to allow push notifications or not. So when you're first marketing your app, or even maybe you've had an app for a couple of years and you're trying to just do another push to get some more users on it, it's important to emphasize the fact that users, it's in their best interest to say yes to push notifications, because if they're downloading your app, chances are they want to hear from you and they want to hear what you have to say. So if they are saying no to push notifications, they're robbing themselves of that privilege. So just make sure you mention that. Now, when we're talking about a push notification, like what we see on the left-hand side of the screen, we're really talking about 4 main elements. The first element is the audience. This is, who is it going to send out to? Do you want to do it broadcast, meaning it goes to everyone, or do you want to do it targeted to a specific list of people? We'll talk more about that later on. The second element is the message, of course. What's it going to say? like I mentioned before, it's 120 characters or less. And what we have found is that emojis, if you put like an emoji like you'll see on the left, there's like a little golf hole on it. There's something with that where when people look at their phone and they're seeing all the messages, their eyes are drawn to the ones that have emojis in them. So make sure that when you're sending these out, maybe you're putting an emoji or two in there just to kind of keep it fresh so that they can see all of that. The third element is the action. The action is where is the user going to go when they tap on the notification. So in this particular instance on the left, it says, Tee times for this weekend just opened up. Tap here to reserve your slot now. Now, when the user taps on that message, their expectation is they're going to get taken to your booking engine so that they can book their tee time at that moment. If they tap on it and it takes them to the home screen of the app, some might find their way to the booking engine, but some also might just kind of get lost and they just maybe close the app out. So you're putting yourself at risk. You want to maximize if people tap on it, you want every single one of them to see whatever you're talking about in your message. So think of this action as like the logical next step for the user. A couple options, you can say open home screen, you can go to a specific website URL, or you can go to a specific page in the app. Last but not least is scheduling. When's it going to send out? You can either send it immediately or you can send it sometime in the future. You basically choose a date and a time, and then the system will hold it until it goes. So you could feasibly go in and schedule out all of your notifications for the next month or so. So that's kind of some background. Now let's take a look at some specific things that we think might really help you guys out. The first thing is filtering audience. So we get all the time people asking us, you know, I just want to send out a message to my league, or maybe just to my membership group, or to some other smaller group of people than what the wide audience of your app is. So hopefully we can answer some questions in this section. Really, when you're talking about options for filtering audience, you have three. The first is you can just send a broadcast message out. Anyone that has your app downloaded and has said yes to push notifications, they're going to get that message. That's what broadcast is. Pretty straightforward. The other two, in the dashboard, we just say targeted, but really it's kind of two subcategories. One, you can target them by their interests or their customer ID fields. And the other one, you can target them by the email that is entered into their user profile. So what does that mean? Let's talk about it. First, let's talk about interests and customer ID fields. These are sections of the user profile of the app where you can ask the user to self-identify, and they can come in and they can say, I'm interested in hearing about this, this, and this, but maybe I don't want to hear about this, this, and this so much. Then when you send out your message, you can automatically just send it out to specific lists. This puts the power in the user's hands because they need to go into their user profile and adjust accordingly. So two here, interest groups and customer ID fields. Interest groups are more like what we see on the left. It's a list of things you can ask people to select as many or as few as they'd like, and it will filter accordingly. So some examples are like course conditions updates, upcoming events, tennis, maybe if you're a private club, lessons, or even like pro shop specials, things of that nature. Customer ID fields here, let me actually get all the way to the end here. What we see on the left. So we're talking specifically about where it says player type, location, and course. These are one choice that the user makes to identify. So for instance, like player type, there might be a number of options. Maybe they're a full member, maybe they're just a social member, things like that. They can only select one out of the drop down. And then location, same thing, they have a drop down, they can only select one. So some examples are like, especially for the public side of things, what are your preferred days to play? Like, do you prefer to hear about tee times on weekends or weekdays? What age group are you in case you want to send out some stuff about like junior golf or maybe like a league or something like that. Think of when you're sending out push notifications, what are kind of like the subsets of your user base that you might want to send the messages out to? That's what these are all about. So that's one option. You can filter by interests or customer IDs, basically allowing the user to tell you what they want to hear about. The logical next question is, well, what if I don't want to put the control in the user's hands? What if I want to own the show here? This is my app. I want to send it out to only a specific list. In that case, we're going to point you more to filtering by the email that they've entered in. So there are a number of locations in the app where you can enter an email address. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking of like you can enter it in the scorecard, you can enter it in the loyalty program, the offer locker. I think those are the main ones you can do. Wherever they do enter it in, it's going to put it in their profile, and that's a way for you to filter it out when you're sending out a push notification. So basically, this is putting the control in your hands. Similar to what we talked about 2 weeks ago about targeted offers, you're going to give us a spreadsheet or maybe a CSV file with all of the email addresses of the specific people you want the message to go out to. And then basically the app is going to filter out only those people to send the message to. Now, inevitably, if you give us a list of maybe like 200 people, there's going to be a couple people that maybe don't have their email entered into their app, or maybe they haven't downloaded the app yet. We will actually return to you a list of all those people, so then you can grab that list and maybe send them a targeted email campaign or something of that nature. So again, you're using the email, but it's really just sending a push notification. We're just using it as a filtering tactic. Now, I know I'm hitting you with a lot here. This is just designed to kind of give you a lay of the land. Again, Matt did put in a link to our knowledge base article if you want to check that out, or if you want to schedule a call with us. We can go way more in depth for your specific situation here. Those are just a couple of options. So I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me talk. So let's have Matt talk a little bit, huh? Matt's going to talk to you guys a little bit about action.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Actions are, like Kyle had mentioned before, what happens when somebody clicks on that push notification. The user can opt to swipe to dismiss that message, but most likely if they click on it, it's going to always open up your app first and then do one of the actions that you tell it to do. So this is most important to do, to make sure that, like he said earlier, that you're directing your person exactly where you want them to go and not have them feel lost or confused about what to do next and then just close their app because now they're confused. So you want it to be as simple and easy as possible. So the action types on it that we talked about, the default one, the very first one that is set when you send out a push, if you don't set the action to anything specific, is just open your home screen. This is fine if you're sending out just an informational push about course conditions, frost delays, weather delays, something like that. But typically we try to recommend, as much as possible, always having your action be something directed to either a website or URL or to a specific app page. That way it gets them to do something after they open your app and not just sitting there on the home screen, twiddling their thumbs or something. So the home screen, again, is the default, and that's if you're not selecting any action, that's just where it's going to go automatically. Once you click on it, as you can see on the left-hand side, when you when you select an action, and then it has another drop-down list of what you can do from there. Obviously, open website, you type in the URL, and it can go to literally any website that you put in there. Any website that you want will pop up first the app, and then it will pop up within the app. So basically, when they do click done in the upper left-hand screen of their phone, it will go back to the home screen of their app when they're done with that website, which is nice. So it still puts them back into your app at the end when they're done registering for their event or whatever it may be that you wanted them to see on your website or whatever website you sent them to. Facebook website is a good one to go to as a default. Some people, I know some clubs like to send out, course condition updates, but then they always link it to either their tee time booking engine or to Facebook. So that way it sends them somewhere to do something, whether it's like them on Facebook, see other posts they have, or to book a tee time. Hey, if you're here, course conditions, you want to see, hey, the great course conditions, hey, go straight to tee time and book a tee time so you can come out and play. But then the other great place to do, so as you can see that list of actions when you open app page, you can literally link it to almost every other part of your app. Some of the more important ones to link it to are straight to book a tee time, especially if you're talking about open tee times that you're trying to get them to go to. You can have it linked directly to your offer locker. So if you have a new offer that you're trying to promote and let people know about, you can say, hey, look, check out this new offer on Pro V1s in the Pro Shop that are on sale. Click here to view it. And when they click it, it'll go directly to that offer within your own offer locker. So that way they can see it and they know more details about it there. But then probably the most easiest thing to do, even if it's an informational push notification or something where they're just getting information or they want to learn more about an upcoming event, if you create a news item first, you can link the action to any news item in your news feed. And that can basically be a landing page for more information on that push. So as Kyle mentioned, you only get 120 characters. And as you can see kind of in the, on the phones, if you have more than 30 or 40 characters, a lot of times it gets cut off depending on the size of the phone or where they're viewing the notification, whether it's on the drop down or on the lock screen. So the less characters is sometimes the better. And just to have them to click on it, kind of tease them to open that message and have it then open to a news item that you can now have as much text as you want, have other images, do whatever you want there so they can see that information, and then have more links there to other websites as well. So say you want to talk about an upcoming event, you can talk about where the date and time and let them know what's going to be happening, and then have a registration link at the bottom of that news item. So there's a lot of different options you can have for doing that. But I think attaching it to a news item with more information is probably the best and easiest way to do it. You just have to set that up first before you send out the push because you have to set up the news item to link it to. But having it linked to anything else other than the home screen is always going to be your best bet. That way, those people are directed to exactly something else they can do instead of just opening your home screen. So that's why we talk about actions are so important. You want to direct them where they're going. Now we're going to talk about some unique ideas. So these are just some ideas that I've seen. I have probably about 60 apps on my phone and on my computer emulator that has a phone. And I'm always constantly checking out and very impressed by what you guys are putting out there. And anytime I see something really cool, I try to write it down or tell other people about it. So a lot of these are just coming straight from you guys and I'm just stealing them. So not always my ideas or Kyle's, but these are just some ones that tend to work and we see the most kind of out there. So number one is just upcoming events. Obviously, just getting people word out of what's happening. It's great to let people know about when something's going to be happening in the future. Hey, this new event is going to happen in a couple weeks. But then it's also great to also, put in a registration link, whether it's a, Mother's Day brunch where they can sign up, or it's a tournament they can sign up online for. Putting that link directly there so they can just click on it and register without having to find it. But then also reminders the day before the event is great. You can target those to just the people that are coming to the event that you know about if you have their emails. And what's nice is if you get that targeted list back that says, hey, these 10 people, didn't get the push because they're either not opted in or they don't have the app downloaded. You can then send them an email to remind them, hey, it looks like you don't have the app. And if you're going to be live scoring tomorrow at our event, you might want to download it now so you don't have to remember to do it the day of, kind of thing. So then course condition, pin locations. This is something that some clubs do every single day. This obviously, if your club doesn't need this or you don't care about it as much, but this is something you can do daily. And some people do multiple times a day, sending out course condition updates and pin locations. This is great if you want to filter it to the people that only want to get this. Probably great. So that way you're not hitting people that don't care about it. Maybe you're a tennis member or something else. They don't want to see these daily updates. They can be opted out by, being in the different category. But then also talking about open tee times, getting them like, hey, we got open tee times this afternoon, book now. You can fill up your tee sheet that way just by letting people know, hey, it's Wednesday. We can maybe do, some early twilight hours or something and get them to come in early, something like that. And then again, you can also update everybody, if you have like a frost delay, or you can, if you only have a couple people going out in the morning, just let them know, send out a targeted push just to those people that if you have their emails already. And then another great thing is Pro Shop deals, whether it's specials, you have overstock, you're trying to get rid of something. So you're just like reminding people that you have certain things in stock. Or it's a great time to use it with the offer locker, link it to an offer that they can then come in and get some deal that way, so you can track it better and kind of have a way of tracking how many people are viewing it, how many people are redeeming. And then, I mean, a great way to use this as well is F&B specials. Whether you're using our OnTap, food and beverage click to order system, or your own, or just a basic menu, letting people know about new daily specials, new hours or menu items, coupon codes. If you are using some sort of ordering system that has coupons, you can put that coupon code right in their hands so they can use it when they come in or when they're ordering right there. And again, using it with their offer locker. If you're going to give, buy free beer with an appetizer purchase, it's a great time to put that in there, let people know about it, but then also get that offer and have it saved in their phone for them. So linking stuff together is huge. We try to tie everything as easily as possible for you guys. And here's a few more. Again, these totally up to you. I mean, obviously these are going to be totally dependent on what you guys are using them for, but league updates are huge, especially if you have a customer ID field, which is different leagues. You can target just your individual leagues, remind them about like, hey, we're going off at 5 p.m. today, or about, any other changes or who's scoring, or, things like that. Winners of events, just promoting, giving shout outs to your players to let them know, give them some recognition, whether they won some big tournament at the end of the year, somebody had a hole in one, just somebody that played a great round of golf and maybe had a personal best or a round, a record at your club. These are things that people would love to see and kind of makes them feel better, more special, especially, compared to some other places that might not have this. They might come back to you because they're getting kind of singled out and feel special about it. And then holidays are a great time just to kind of remind them that you're there and just wish them a happy holiday for whatever it is. Remind them to come in to your location for the holiday event if you're throwing some sort of event or party. But just kind of remind them and say thank you to them that way. Also, we have some clubs that do birthday kind of shout outs as well. You can send a direct, targeted message to one person that says happy birthday if you know their birthday or birthday month. That can be up to you whether how you track that kind of thing. But then another thing that a lot of clubs do, if you do more than just golf, which I know a lot of clubs do, you can promote other parts of your golf, other parts of your facility that are not golf. So tennis, if you're a resort or a hotel, you can talk about rooms or, packages. You can talk about lessons if you have a lot of pros, especially if you have outside pros that come in and maybe just do lessons at your facility. And then also memberships, passes, yearly passes, whatever you guys call it at your location. You can promote all of that stuff as well. Like obviously if they have the app downloaded, they're opted in, they're using it, what a great way to just try to get them to come back even more. So again, lots and lots of things there. These are just supposed to kind of motivate you guys to think of stuff that might work at your club. And again, you don't have to do this on a huge scale. If you don't do any right now, you don't have to start doing 5 a day. It's really up to you guys to decide how often you're doing it, how consistent you are. But I will tell you the clubs that do have the best response and the best opt-in rates are people that do it on a consistent basis, whether it's 2 a day or 2 a month. Whatever they do, they do it consistently to get their golfers, ready to receive that information. And when they do receive it, they're hungry for more next time. So it's always good to start small, build up. We typically see a good average is 3 to 5 a week, at a public or semi-private course. Public courses, I mean, we see anywhere from 5 to 7 a week work really well, 1 a day. And some clubs do way more than that, and it works really well for them. So it's really up to you and how committed you want to be in doing it. We try to make it as easy to schedule them out in the future, so you don't have to worry about doing them all, at the time you need to send them. You can spend a Monday morning, set up all the ones you want to send out that week, and schedule them, one to go out Tuesday at noon, one to go out Wednesday in the afternoon. You can kind of schedule them out so that you can block off some time to do it, but then they can send out whenever you wanted them to throughout the week. So that's just my tips for you about push notifications.
Yeah.
Now, Kyle, do you have anything else?
I'll chip on to what Matt was saying. Like the push notifications, at least to me, are one of the main reasons why anyone would ever have an app. One of the other main reasons is you want to enhance people's experience and give people access to different parts of your facility that you want them to have access to. You know, you want them to be able to book tea times and fill out a form to talk to you and all those kinds of things. But aside from that, I mean, push notifications are the way that you can use the app to communicate and meet your users where they are. So like Matt said, you don't have to do all this. Maybe just cherry pick a couple things where you said, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. Try it out a little bit and see how your users respond and adjust accordingly from there.
I will tell you that this does not. I have a lot of clubs that get really wary and get scared of sending out pushes because they try to make it like an email. That has to be formatted correctly, has to be perfect, and it has to, no, these are supposed to be quick and easy, like a text. That's supposed to just be a quick, easy way to get information out to your members or to your golfers in a way that doesn't have to be, as formal or as crazy as an email. And it is another way to reach them because it is going straight to their phone, popping up on top of everything else that they're doing in a way to reach them when they're not even thinking about you. So, think about things just to get their attention, to get them to come back and think about you again. So,
yeah. Anna asked a excellent question. She asked, what's the difference between direct responses and influence responses that show up on the push notifications part of the app? Now, what she's talking about is in the dashboard. Here, let me actually show you guys. This is going to illustrate it a little more. I'm showing you the club at Sonterra, which is one of our customers. They're a private club in Texas. This is their dashboard. When you click on the push notification section, this gives you full reporting on the success of your message that you sent out. Now, you'll notice, to Anna's point, one of them says direct responses and one of them says influenced. So the question is, what's the difference? Direct responders are people that receive the message and they immediately tapped on it to see what the action was set for. Basically, those are the most engaged people that wanted to really see what's going on. Influence responders are people that saw the message, but then did not immediately interact with it, but within about 2 or 3 hours, somehow found a way into your app. So chances are you probably influenced them to get in there. So you can use all of these numbers as kind of a gauge as far as like how successful your message was. And also keep in mind, some of these messages, you don't even need them to tap on the action.
Exactly.
So like, for instance, like this one is all about how the driving range is open, the course is no longer cart path only. You don't really need them to do anything else. So seeing the low direct response rate does not worry me on it. But if you're sending out a message talking about an upcoming event or something like that, I would expect that direct response rate to get up. And if it's not getting up, go back to the original text of what you sent and make sure that you're referencing the fact that they can tap on the message to get more information or the registration link or wherever you're trying to point them to.
Exactly. That's a great point, guys. Making sure that they understand when they're clicking on it, it's going to take them somewhere else, and then actually have it take them to the correct place that you want them to go. Yeah, absolutely.
Great question. Great question. Let's see. I'm not seeing any other questions in the Q&A. If someone might be typing something out, so as we're kind of giving them some time to do that, I will say we have one more Pro Tips webinar coming up. Matt just popped in the registration link for it. We're excited about it. We're going to be talking with our friend Kent from One-to-One Marketing. We have an integration with their Campaign Pilot solution. It is, let me lead with this. It's free. There's no additional cost. You don't have to do anything.
No, on either side.
On either side. It's a marketing solution where basically you can create a campaign, if you will, and it is integrated directly with your app. And it also integrates with like email platforms and social media like Facebook and all that stuff. You create one campaign, click a button, and it sends out a push from your app, does a post to Facebook, shoots out an email, goes out and does all of that stuff. It streamlines everything and makes it a lot simpler. Another thing that is integrated is the offer locker. So you can actually create a campaign where people can go in and they can pay for some sort of product or service, and it will automatically generate a targeted offer for that specific user in their app. It's really, really cool. We're really excited about it. We have quite a few courses that have actually already been using it, and they love it. So we figured that this would be the best venue to kind of show you guys about that. Kent knows way more about their system than we could ever. So we're excited to talk to you guys about that. So that registration link is in the Q&A section. I will also say, if you want to learn more, we already talked about, we're happy to do a review call with you, talk to you about your app in particular, but there's also a number of help articles on push notifications and any other feature of your Gallus app that you may want to take a look at. And our goal is really, if you have a question, you should be able to find the answer in whatever way you want to. If you want to talk to someone on the phone, you can give us a call. If you want to shoot us an email, as I mentioned, if you want to find an article in our knowledge base and just find the answer yourself, or you'll notice in your dashboard on any page of it, there's going to be a chat button at the, I believe, the bottom left of the screen, and you can also talk with a human. You can just chat with us right there. So push notifications are great, and we're excited to see all the amazing stuff that you guys are going to do with them. Just let us know if there's anything we can do to help. Thanks so much for coming, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah, thanks everybody.